We're both like state school educated. I don't believe in that whole kind of you have to go to private school, you have to go to this grammar school, like piling on pressure on children.
Yeah.
I think there was just way too much pressure on like SATs and GCSEs like back in the day. It was just too much.
Hypothetically, one of the kids is sick. Who's staying at home?
My parents born in the 40s and 50s. If I told my dad that like I'm at home, look, he just doesn't understand like what you're talking about. Like you're at home doing what? Like what? You're not working today. You got a day off. No, this is what I'm doing.
The Parent Playbook. The Parent Playbook.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Parent Playbook by Tribe. I'm your host, Nyah, and we're going to get into it with some authentic honesty. If you don't like swear words, it's probably not the podcast for you. And if you want a pretty version of parenting, then yeah, go and find another podcast, because that's not what we're doing today. Today, I have an amazing host. I'm not a host, I'm the flipping host. I have an amazing guest.
I'm a host as well on my own podcast.
This is why I've done that. Yeah. I'm joined by the amazing Richard. I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell you exactly who he is and what he does so I don't fluff it up. And can I just say, I'm loving the green.
You know what, I thought this morning, let me contrast. I remember the blue, the purple, and I thought, let me pull this out. I never normally dress this colourful though, to be honest.
Well, I feel privileged. So Richard, tell the people who you are.
Thank you, Nyah. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I've been watching intently from behind the scenes. So my name is Richard Cummins, father of three, fellow North Londoner.
Three.
Three, twin daughters and a son. An adtech professional, so I've been in the industry for quite a while now, working for global corporations, and I also work with startups and entrepreneurs in a different capacity as well.
I mean, so because I'm a founder and an entrepreneur, all of that stuff sounds really exciting and fun and stressful all at the same time. But you said twins, and the twins for me really hit home. My cousin had twins in December. I think, I can't remember if I was telling you this, but she just had them, and I'm like a real auntie. Yeah. So I'm doing you can go and get your nails done, and I'll watch the twins. Talk to me about twins, man.
Yeah, twins. So I don't know if your audience know, but it's worth actually them going to research. Actually, there's a place in Nigeria which actually got the highest rate of twins in the globe.
Are you being serious?
So we kind of had quite confident that we were going to have twins for whatever reason, because I'm half Nigerian, half Asian as well.
Okay.
So we've got twins on both sides of the family.
It was
happening. And in the immediate, we've got like two sets of twins on the Nigerian side. So when it happened, it wasn't like
a shock.
It was a shock, but it wasn't a shock.
But what about the process? But they're your first. The twins are the first?
Yes, they are.
Okay,
our first daughters,
There is something to be said with, if you have the twins first, then you just never know any different.
Exactly.
But I'm telling you, I looked after the twins for 3 hours, and it was a barrage of burp, feed, burp, change, cry. And then I was struggling. Who do I pick up? Yeah. It's insane.
No, it was a lot, in terms of, but obviously, you're the professional about like parenting and kind of like skills. And for us, it was just staying, really organized, right? And having that tribe around us as well, parents, grandparents, and
everyone.
Kind of like
Anybody.
Google Calendar was like crucial just for planning stuff like in between work. And I was lucky enough as well to have a good good parental leave,
do you know what? It sounded real what did you get out of jail?
Paternity leave, sorry, I couldn't, whatever P it was. So a lot of fathers in the UK don't have that, but I was working for Google at the time and kind of I had a 3 month off.
Oh, sick.
So we were, fully hands on, four hands, rather than just kind of all on the mother. And kind
amazing.
of for the first 3 months, I was fully, trying to balance things.
That's good. So talk to me about how Google, the support there. And that sounds like they really support their parents.
Yeah, I think it's topical right now. I think, there's a few organisations that have been lobbying Parliament about, parental leave just generally, and how, statutory is crazy, right? Taking 2 weeks off, I believe it is for fathers. And some countries it's a week or whatever. In the US, I think it is something like that. But in the UK, so global corporations like Google and Spotify, etc., they were more generous with their parental leave. So I had 3 months, which was amazing.
That is amazing.
And it's an incentive as well to to go to work for that company. If you are thinking of having children.
A family.
Yeah.
And I suppose as well, it's nice to be able to think, okay, cool, I've got 3 months, I can really muck in with. And you get to see firsthand what actually happens in that house, because
exactly.
It's crazy.
It's a lot.
crazy.
Like it doesn't. Yeah, there's no work like outside corporate, nothing that compares to like what you have to do. Like full appreciation for what mothers do. Like just any co-parents do it. Actually, we shouldn't really just be speaking about mothers. And for me, that first 3 months was just so important. You never get it back.
You never get it
and
back.
I say that to other fathers and kind of like prospective mothers like out there. You never get those precious,
Moment.
3 to 6 year, whatever it is.
You just don't. And then it's just over. Like I remember when I think Kizzy must have been about 2 and that's when the pandemic hit. So me and her dad just had shitloads of time at home with her. And like in the moment, you're thinking, oh my, open the nurseries. But looking back now, it's like we've done so much stuff. Like we built her a Wendy house in the garden. We were doing films on the screen. Like it was just so creative and a time to really just, there was nothing else to do. So you just was locked in with your family.
Exactly, 2020, my daughter's turned 3, similar to kind of like time
must
as
have been the
you.
same age,
And kind of, just all of the memories and fun that we,
Crazy.
like more actually than, outside of COVID, right? Because you had so much time to do stuff, And we look at that back at that period now and so many pictures between 2020 and 2021. Just amazing.
Yeah,
like,
you're so right. And you're just in the belly of that euphoric parenting, which you just we're probably never going to get that.
Yes, so that was, one of the gifts of
COVID.
For sure, the parenting piece, 100%, all those park trips and everything else.
So how do you juggle everything that you do? Because, like you said everything you've done and like it seemed like a sentence, but it's so broad. Like how do you have time? How do you manage everything?
I'd say, like, first off, our advice to people is obviously try and do what you enjoy, right? Yeah. Like, that's crucial. And when you're doing what you enjoy, it's not really that, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not effort, right? In terms of, like, a lot of what I do is kind of like, has synergies, like, between each of the different things. Okay. Like, for example, if I'm doing the podcast, I enjoyed, talking to you anyway about this, right? It's not work, it's not effort for me to come here today and speak to you. Similar to kind of, working, with startups and entrepreneurs and kind of like advising and that sort of stuff. Like being in tech, it's all kind of like linked within each other. So kind of, but the question I do get is the question you're asking is kind of like juggling family life and then being at certain things. You got to pick and choose, right? As you know, kind of like what you go to. I'm not running around anymore. We're in Moorgate, which is really near to Old Street. And I kind of think back to 2015, Old Street, Google for Startups, 3 events a week, like so much going on in this area.
You're saying yes to everything.
Whereas, now it's kind of, and online's helped as well, right? Virtual,
absolutely.
Massively, compared to like running around and going to events constantly.
Okay, so spanner question.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, one of the kids is sick. Who's staying at home?
It depends. It just depends, really. So, like, my partner Jade, she has to go into work. She's a dental practice manager. Okay. So, like, she's doing like a real job where you have to be in present, like with people. So, like, there's been times where I've kind of like just stayed at home with Amari if he's been ill, or Isla or Dale's been kind of like ill, and kind of like more so because I have that luxury of being remote. So with the girls, because they're 8 now, they're self-sufficient, they're making food for themselves and all the things where I could just kind of like be on the laptop working. And we've done that. And like, we were probably ill in like December, I think. I can think back. And one of the girls were with me at home and it was fine. But when it's like Ramari, then I probably would have to take a day off just because I'm at home. It doesn't make sense to, for Jade to be taking that day off.
No, that sounds like balance. I feel like if you research the stats, it shows that women are more likely to stay at home than men overall. Yeah. And like, there is a thing where children generally want their mum. Like, it's not, I don't feel like it is, it's made up. Like, kids, like, when they're sick and stuff, they just kind of want their mum. But now we're faced with working women, women with careers. Sometimes women are chief income in the household. So it's like, well, I can't lose my salary today. It's going to have to be you. But I think that there's more of a spotlight being shone on it now, and it's not always just automatically just mum. No,
I definitely do see that within my network and like friends and family and stuff like that. For what you're saying, like the chief income, that has shifted now, like in terms of that. In our kind of like base, it's kind of like, I'm full time and 5 days a week. With Jade's like 3 days a week. So like to your point about that balance is probably more on Jade to do kind of like some of the house stuff. And that just works for us, right? It's not out of choice. And there might be time in the future where I might tell back, and kind of like she might go,
figure it out.
and we figure it out.
I think that's the beautiful thing about modern parenting. It's not
not rigid anymore.
It's not rigid,
Yeah.
no. And I
Yeah.
think that, men kind of get a hard task some of the time,
Yeah.
they don't do anything, and they go back to this Stone Age, man must hunt. And it's like, the men are doing bits. Like my husband cooks, we're sharing things because you can see it up close. It's impossible for one person to take the lion's share in the house and go to work at the same time. It's just impossible.
I'll tell you the difference though is like my parents born in the 40s and 50s. If I told my dad that like I'm at home, look, he just doesn't understand like what you're talking about. Like you're at home doing what? Like even like now still my mum understands that I work for a tech company, but like sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I'm at home I just picked Isla up from school, Isla and Adele. It's like, what? You're not working today, you got a day off. No, this is what I'm doing.
It's
like
flexible.
that 3:15, like I block off my calendar between 3 and 3:30. I'm back on the court at 3:30, but I've just gone to collect them. Air fryer, boom, straight on the plate. It's like it works, but for her, in terms of like the role that my dad played, out, he'd just be gone. From like 7 till like 8 p.m.
Exactly. Normally after dinner,
and I might not see him till like Friday or Saturday or whatever. It's just the roles it's completely changed. Yeah.
It's funny because like when you talk about it like that, it's like it makes me think of my nan and granddad. And my nan used to get so annoyed because every day he would come in and take his dinner out of the oven because she'd serve everything up. But as you said, he went out and he worked. And he was always like somebody that would like champion, Nyah, you're an entrepreneur. And he loved it. And I remember I used to do these T-shirts that used to say Billionaire Girls Club, all like real like female stuff. And one day he laughed, and I saw him laughing. My nan was wearing a T-shirt, and he went, all that funny female stuff. And I was like, oh.
Wow.
But the way he said it, and I was like, oh, so that's what you really think, but you're championing me. But when Nanny had the T-shirt on, it was pretty much, oh no, not my wife.
Oh, really?
Very traditional.
Yeah.
Like my nan would done everything at home. She worked as well, but she was the caregiver.
Yeah.
And I feel like watching her, it did make me feel some kind of, I don't really want to do that. Like, it needs to be some 50-50.
It's a lot, like putting everything on that. Like, there's the home, there's the working, there's the kind of kids, there's washing. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just loaded up.
It is a lot.
And I think, like, kind of like the modern aspect of like balancing things out, it just works for both.
It does. And I feel like I was talking to somebody about communication and the fact that some women don't explain what they want you to do and what they need, and they expect you to just kind of know. And then it gets to a point of the burnout and then the boiling point, and then all of a sudden there's a big massive and it's like, but you just didn't say. And it's like, but I don't want to say, I want you to just know. It's invisible, and I think it definitely boils out into a lot of modern relationships, but I feel like we're getting better.
So like to your point, like the question you asked me earlier on, like how do I balance and juggle? I think that communication point is just crucial, within it. Like if I'm putting, like I've just got an event invite just now in March, if Jade knows about that event and what I'm doing and where I'm going, it goes straight into Google Calendar. Whether I might not go to it, whether she knows early on.
We're in.
And kind of, we're in. And like stuff that she's doing as well is kind of like communicating to me. It's kind of like, okay, on this day, I want to do something. And I think that constant rhythm of communication is so important.
Yeah.
Like I don't spring things up last minute a lot of the time. Like I minimise that as much as possible.
Okay. That's possible. Maybe I need to learn that a little bit.
Yeah, it's hard though. Like every now and
sometimes
again,
I'm like, by the way, tomorrow I won't be home till. Can you grab dinner for?
That's when the arguments spring up.
No,
and those keep happening.
Yeah, and I feel like it depends the industry that you're in as well, because I think that has a massive thing to do with it.
Yes.
Like being somebody, I'm quite flexible like yourself. It's like working from home a bit, working from maybe David Lloyd, like I am wherever I am with my laptop working, and then the things that just kind of pop up. Sometimes it's harder.
Yeah, I would say it's more difficult. Like I know people that are in the arts and entertainment industry, and like there it's kind of like you don't know what you're doing next week, right?
Literally, honestly.
As you know, right, in terms of your background, but kind of I've got more of a rigid kind of like calendar and diary, and kind of like I know what I'm doing pretty much.
So would you say you guys work around the kids, or do you make the kids work around you?
I think I'd probably say both. Like when I think about. They've got their kids' clubs, we know what time they're going to school, we know what time they're finishing school, and kind of like that's set in stone, right, in terms of that. Then obviously we have to work around that to some aspect, where I have to block my calendar and that sort. But then there's the reverse of that, and making sure, as parents, you should still, like my mum always said, like before I had kids, make sure you still live.
Yeah, that's.
Do you know what I mean? Advice, just don't drop your whole life for kids. Kids will grow up.
And
kids will be all right.
They're gonna leave.
My mum never did no rigid, and I grew up okay. Do you know what I mean? It was like she just made things work and happen and all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of we make sure that we're not always like at their beck and call, like in terms of, you know, I think it helps for us though, I've got to admit, in terms of having that support network.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like still being able to do what you want to do because you've got an
people.
auntie or you've got a grandmum. And this whole comes back to, you know, the whole like, I've got some friends that kind of like move country and all, they don't have that at all. Do you know what I mean? It's just like
different.
gone. They're doing carers and this person and that, like money and, you know what I mean? Whereas that's always been my thing.
Thought process is that we're going out, but then we have to think about paying for somebody to come and watch the kids. So it's a lot.
I don't never want that situation, to be honest. I want my children being with ideally family members as well.
No, and it's true. And also those family moments are so important growing up. Like the kids, like when they get older and it's like, they just have bonds with their family. Like it's literally, we've just moved back up to North London for that very reason, to be closer to family. It really does make a difference. So talk to me about, so your girls are 8 going on 9. So that's year 4. Four. What are your thoughts on like the 11 plus and all of the grammar schools and the tests and the things like that? When it comes to education, where are you at?
We're both like state school educated. I don't believe in that whole kind of you have to go to private school, you have to go to this grammar school, like piling on pressure on children. If your children academically, you know, excelling, definitely provide them that foundation and basis to continue that, right, in terms of that. But we're not putting that kind of pressure on. I went to a state school, did okay, was kind of tapped in. You know, it depends where you land, right, in terms of the school that you go to, as you know. Kind of enjoyed, you know, education and schooling, but, you know, you can run into a good teacher, you can run into a bad teacher, you can run into bullying.
Good gang, a bad gang,
all the sorts of stuff that goes on, and kind of like, for me, and the girls, like, you know, they're just putting into state school and see how they go, and then kind of like just pushing them more to kind of like areas that they're kind of like more inclined to enjoying, right? So like, Isla's more into arts and drama and that kind of stuff currently right now, and kind of like leaning and English as well, whereas Adele's kind of like a bit more mathematical and scientific. So
it's nice to watch their what they love, you know, see what they're actually into. I was doing some research about the 11 plus. Someone mentioned it to me and said, oh, you should think about that for your daughter. And when I researched it, it's not as academic as they make out. A lot of it is about reasoning, articulation, and then again, it's like looking at your child and seeing where they fit and how that could just actually give them a better chance in life, not just the 11 plus, if that makes sense. So some of the stuff was like, oh, okay, it's about like when your child reads a book, certain questions to ask them, which will enable them to have a better chance at having an adult conversation. As opposed to just letting your child read a book, which I thought was quite interesting because the 11 plus just sounds scary. When you look at all the reports online, it's like, parents are stressed out, kids are losing their minds. And it's like, well, actually, it's not that deep. All it is a little bit of tweaking and making sure that you give your child maybe a choice that they might not have. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, And like, I think there was just way too much pressure on like SATs and GCSEs like back in the day. It was just too much. Do you know, I don't want them to be going, like,
do you remember the National Record of Achievement?
Of course, I've got my red book. It's somewhere in my mum's house. Have you ever used it?
They told me, I need that for every job interview. My first
I did take it out though. I remember early days.
Did you?
Yeah. We're talking about early days, like took it out.
The 90s.
And then after that, like, no.
Yeah, but even my GCSEs, it's like,
what are you doing with it? How you?
I don't think no one ever asked me ever, and I worked so hard, like to get my little results, and then it's like, what did you get?
This is way too much. Like, we're not piling that kind of pressure on the kids, and especially like where, you know, things are different now. Like the most, you know, a lot of the people I work with, like excelling in their careers, not all of them are degree educated as well. That's another thing. I went through to university, and I enjoyed the experience and all the rest of it, but was university critical for the work I'm doing now? It wasn't, unfortunately.
I know, I hear you. And I feel like even like now my daughter's learning the times tables and they're doing this big thing, they've got to do they do it they might do it in your daughter's school. It comes to a certain time in year 4 where they do this massive big times table test where they test all the times tables. But it's like, are they really going to need that? Like the pressure that they're under to really learn to recite these sums off the top of their head. It's insane.
I do like the foundation as mathematics though, just like throughout life. I think that's really, really important. And they're doing like, you know, that gamification stuff online now currently with Mathletics. I don't know if you've got that. And I think that's really good. And when I think seeing them accelerate, you choosing that. athletics and how they're quickly picking up their times table, I think it's definitely beneficial.
It is. I just feel like there is a bit of pressure though.
Yeah,
like,
the pressure, we're not.
Yeah, because my daughter came out like, I've got the eights, mommy, the eights. I said,
and getting all nervous before the day and all that. You're thinking about it on the weekend.
I'm saying, just relax. You're going to do what you're going to do. All we want you to do is try best.
Yeah.
That is it. Everything else is anything else, because it is like they're in year 4.
I agree. 100%.
Like, I'm like, guys, and also as well, there's pressure for me because she's saying, can you test me? And I'm like, wait, because I need the list. I'm like, where are the answers? Because I don't know I didn't even know the answers. And, and with just, AI and everything, there's just so much out there. It's like, what are the things that you're pushing your children to learn outside of the curriculum?
Yeah, so like, I think the big thing we speak about a lot of the time in like Afro-Caribbean communities is the conversations at home, like around the dinner table. For me, that foundational kind of, what did I do at work today? What did Jade do at work today? And kind of like, how has their day been? Those conversations that speak about, they start asking me about business. Like the other day I was just driving along and she was like, oh, like that presentation you did, like she really engaging. And I think that those basic conversations about business and life, I never grew up with.
Yes.
Because my mum was very busy doing 3-4 jobs, whatever it was per week. Coming home, it was just the basics: dinner, TV, bit of homework,
keeping us alive.
Go sleep, do it again, rinse and repeat. And like when I look at some of my other kind of like students that I kind of like went to school with, their parents might have been a doctor or like a nurse or whatever it might be, and a lawyer, whatever. And that dinner table foundation for me is so important.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that because if you research the 11+, that is one of the fundamentals. It's one of the fundamentals. And as you're saying, it's like, it's not something like I didn't even have a dinner table in my house. We had the TV and we sat on the couch. So it's like us sitting down now and we're all talking and engaging. You're right. We're doing things differently and probably not even realizing how impactful that they're actually going to be.
1,000%. And I can see how impactful it is, because the conversations that they're having with me and the things that they're asking me, and I'm like having to think about some things.
It's challenging.
I was not asking those questions at their age. There's no way 8 and 9 for sure. So I think that in-house kind of like just organic, no pressure. Let's just talk about different industries and different things that we're doing. And they've come to company, like they've been in the company as well. Like they've been to Spotify, they've been to Google, they've been.
And they see it.
Do you know what I mean? The places and they feel so like, when it comes to doing interviews, they won't be scared for those environments. Whereas, when's the first time I went to an office? I'm trying to think. Do you know what I mean? When I was young.
No, it's true. I think the first time I went was my
mid-20s, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because I was doing like retail and I was kind of like doing IT support, but like a real kind of like corporate environment. Probably like 24. 23, 24.
And also,
maybe.
you think about it as well, it's like we just didn't see us in those places.
Yeah, we weren't.
So it was extra nerve-wracking. Yeah. Like, I feel like our children will walk into these spaces
and be comfortable.
They're like, because it's very, very normal. Which is beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a massive difference.
It is. And I feel like one of the things I really love, and even like hearing you talk about how you're raising your children, is understanding the opportunities that they're going to have in terms of just a phone call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, even when I came to you and was at the Spotify and I went home, I was like, oh, guess where I was today, Kizzy? And I explained it. She's like, oh, wow, that's amazing. Yeah. It's like to know that maybe at some stage I could be like, oh, could I bring her in? Just
exactly.
It's like, these are opportunities we didn't have when we were younger.
Breaking down them barriers. Yes. Like, I never forget, like, going to the city. I think it was like for a TFL thing post-uni, and it was just like so overbearing. Do you know what I mean? It was somewhere in the city of London. I just remember going in there and it was just like suits. Do you know what I mean? These kind of people that I'd never interacted with, and kind of, even though I was qualified to do the role, I never got it just because I couldn't communicate. Do you know what I mean? Properly in that environment, right? We weren't in them environments, so it took a bit more time. So I think, just exposing your children to as much, different environments as possible, I think is definitely beneficial.
Yeah, no, definitely. It sounds, just even everything that you're saying, it's like, it's just nice to hear the change that has already been made.
Yes.
I think a lot of the time people talk about, we need to change it. It's like, no, but we've changing already.
1,000%. It's a massive shift in generation change. Yeah. When I think of like the generation after us, like the Gen Z lot, how like they're just so entrepreneurial. They're just like breaking down barriers. Like anything's possible to them.
They're doing millionaire things overnight. I was so my daughter really wants a dog. She would talk about she's the only child in it. So she's like dog. For the last 3 years, she's wanted a dog.
Yeah.
So to get her off my back, I said, okay, right, listen. You set up your own Vinted page and you make £1,000 by the end of the year, and we'll talk about getting a dog, because then it will show me that you can generate income, blah, blah, blah. In my head, I'm thinking, she ain't going to do that. Well, she's made £16 already.
Brilliant.
And she's using ChatGPT to write her titles and her descriptions. And I'm looking at a child make profits. It's like, it's anybody's game.
Yeah.
It is anybody's game right now. And who better than for us to be able to watch our children do groundbreaking things and be like, wow, oh my gosh, we're a part of that.
You know, one thing I was thinking about on that topic, though, is like discussion we have, is the value of money.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I don't think that generation, to counter argument that they have the same value that we had, because we were going into shops with 50p, 75p, £1, £1.50, whatever it was. We were given that physical fiat currency, and we will go in physically into the corner shop, whereas they're not doing that now.
But
so
I
like
think,
the value
do
of money.
you not feel like that is down to what you said earlier on and what you do with your child in your household? Because my daughter has a purse and she has cash in there, and she also has a Monzo card. And when we go out, if you don't bring your purse and your money,
You're not.
No, and I watch. She has to spend her own physical money, and like we'll go out and like I've got a friend of mine. We went out with his son, and we went like just to one of those soft play things. And I said, go and buy Lenny an ice cream. Yeah. And she was like, oh God. I was like, no, it's your friend. Like like to spend your money, but you can see the difference that it makes when you watch them hand over their cash. And there's a generation, as you said, they're not doing that.
They're not doing
it's swipe, blonk, blonk, and they're not even understanding like people are spending £200 on dinners these days. Like it's normal.
Oh no, you go to any of the nice restaurants, like the younger demo, they're just in there.
It's insane. Like it's insane.
You wouldn't even think of fathoming that.
And I don't want to feel like an old auntie, but like, where do you expect this young man at 17 to find £300 to take you out? It's crazy.
They're there for sure. It's just that value of money there, I think it's being lost just generationally. Like I totally agree with your approach in terms of like giving them that. But then I think every now and again we just don't have like do you know what I mean? The physical coins like a lot of the time. So like
it's true.
They've got the card and it's just boom.
It's just swiping.
Not even thinking about it. So every now and again I'm like, how much you think that is? How much you think that is? And all the things. But what's £20 to them now? Do you know what I mean?
No, I'm telling you. But I think maybe like as well, for me, I think I've been slightly obsessed with the money train.
Oh, that's good.
So since she was really little, there's been and now I feel like, did I do a bit too much? Because she's very, like it was Christmas and I'm like, okay, what are you getting your dad for Christmas? She wanted to get him a blue Porsche, the toy little blue Porsche. So I've said, okay, cool, get your money. I've had a look and I've gone to buy it. I said, pass your card details. So we're on Amazon and I'm putting it in. And then I said, that's £30. And she went, oh, can we look somewhere else to get one? I said, I've already ordered it now. But I said, I've already ordered it now. But she's very conscious. But again, sometimes I feel like, have I overdone it? Because I am very, and that's probably just from my own background.
I'd rather do the overdoing it to know that she knows what that money is and she's not getting in debts in the future. Do you know what I mean?
Let's not mess about it. I think that's just one of my passions, like trying to create environments for children to really understand about cash, because cash is king.
Cash is 100% king, and it stays throughout your life, regardless of what comes in the future.
Exactly,
sure.
And it doesn't matter how much you have. Just learn how to manage what you have.
The basics, like your vintage example, buying for £1, selling for £2, like that. I was in a market store in Camden Town, grew up in a market store with my mum, and kind of like that gave me my foundation. Back to education now versus real life example. I was in a market store, started hustling, working for other stallholders, like when my mum went there and all that sort of stuff.
Love that.
And I loved it all. Do you know what I mean?
So you had entrepreneurial spirit.
From early doors,
So do you think entrepreneurialism can be taught, or is it something that you just have?
I think it can be taught, for sure. I just think like things have changed now, right? So like if you're talking about entrepreneur in the tech sector, right, that can be taught, right? But I think some people have got that innate, do you know what I mean, drive to kind of like hunger and kind of like continue kind of like doing what they need to do through persevering and kind of like going on and on. Whereas some people, do you know what I mean, it's just not within their...
It's not in them.
It's fine.
But I feel like entrepreneurs just need to be that like bit delusional.
I agree.
Do you need that fundamental, now I'm going to do it. And everyone looks at you like...
you're crazy.
What's
you're going to persevere and you're going to... regardless
and like just the entrepreneurial thing, I feel like throughout my life, I've definitely have been met with the... you still... and it's like people are waiting, they don't realise that sometimes the success as an entrepreneur is the middle. It's not actually the shiny bit at the end, because you get to your goal and then you're like, what am I going to launch now? Do you know?
Next,
it is the middle is sometimes the toughest bit, but the most amazing bit all at the same time.
Breaking down the hurdles and everything. Yeah, for sure.
So, okay, well, Kizzy, as you know, I've always talked about my daughter. She has asked me to ask all the guests a question.
Yeah.
So I have a question from Kizzy, and her question is, what is your most favourite thing to, and I feel like this is shade towards me, just saying, but she wants to know, what is your favourite thing to do with your children?
I love children's questions, you know. They always get you. Like, whenever girls ask you, it's like, I have to think about that.
When she said it, I was
just like some complex work question. I could just answer it straight away, And now the favourite thing to do with them, you know, it's the basics, you know, like we've moved to a new area now and like we were just, driving like on Sunday, kind of like going to the parks and thinking about where all the new kind of, like we're near Trent Park, so kind of like there's a go up there and kind of thinking about all the new kind of like routes that we can take, do you know what I mean, in terms of bike rides, in terms of skating around and all that kind of stuff. I think a basic, kind of like Sunday afternoon, morning, going to the park, then kind of like getting something to eat and something like that, or come back home and cook. Like for me, that is like super basic, but I enjoy that kind of stuff.
And I think it's enriching as well, because when you have children that are asking questions and they're interested in your life, it really, I don't know, it gives you a certain bit of validation.
Those are the precious times.
Really, you remember that? I was listening to Daddy, it was fantastic.
When you get the validations of things, that they remind you of, but those kind of like basic periods of times, you remember them so much more, do you know what I mean, what you're doing.
So what advice would you give to, like, say, the young parent that is, like, they're emerging, they've probably got a full-time job, but they really want to start their own thing, but they have responsibilities. Like, what is your advice to the person who is standing in those shoes?
It's interesting now, like, so like the conversation, you said young parent as well. What do we consider young parent now? So like, and the reason why I say this is because generationally,
we're young.
My mum had the first, like, child in our family, like probably about 17, 18.
Okay.
And I think things are just getting older now progressively, right?
They definitely
people want to establish their careers, they want to see the world, like people just travelling and all the rest of it.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what I mean young, okay? I went to the gym. This is my definition of young, and I learned this a couple of weeks ago. So me and Kizzy do a class together. It's called Blaze. It's like a mummy-daughter class.
Oh, nice.
The instructor does it, and we're all in there. So they make it a bit kid-friendly. And the guy, he looked quite young, but in my head, I'm thinking, we're the same age. We definitely weren't the same age, Richard, but I'm thinking we're similar age. And he's looked at my daughter and he said, if you was going to make a phone call, he said, what does this mean?
Yeah.
And she looked him dead in the eye like, I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He said, so what would you do when you make a phone call? She went like this.
Oh, wow.
Old, young.
Yeah.
And then I said to him, so how would you make the call then? And he started laughing, but he was born in the year 2000. Okay. So for me, that feels...
That's, young.
2000 feels young.
Yeah, it is young.
You know, so it's like 2000. I'm talking like 20s.
Okay.
Maybe late 20s.
See, I don't know that many people that are having like kids sub 25 anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like this side of them. I know they are out there in terms of like, but in terms of...
But even 30, I mean, you know, it's just like the idea of having a responsibility as a mouth to feed on top of a full-time job, on top of a partner, and then you've got this idea that you really want to run towards.
So you know, my nephews, for example, they had late 20s, they had their kids. If they were like a bit earlier, like I'd probably, you know, establish a solid base and foundation for sure. Like, you know, you can't plan for everything, right? Like, you know, if you're with a loving partner and you're kind of like, you know, you want to have a child or whatever, things are going to happen. You work things out as well. This is another thing. Like, nothing's perfect. Everyone works stuff out. When I think about like my parents and the consequence, the situation in which they had kids, completely different. Yeah. No kind of like steady income coming in. It just made it work, right? Do you know what I mean? In terms of those things. But obviously the ideal scenario would be, kind of like solid foundation between yourself and your partner. If you can, do you know what I mean? Have a solid like place where you both coexist and kind of like live in. And then back to the tribe again, I think, I've said this already, but I'm going to kind of like push it again. It is the most important thing when you've got children is to make sure you've got that support network for me. Yeah. It's not, you know, the be all and end all. Obviously, you can still make things work, but it just makes your life so much easier in terms of continuing to have your own personal life as well. Just having that, kind of like any level of support. And even if it's not family, it might be friends or it might be, you know, other people that have got kids who are in that same, that area as well. I think it's just so important. Like, isolation is tough when you're a parent.
Yeah, most definitely. And I also think as well, like, there's something that like very rarely gets discussed about just you, like your partner time, like in your relationship.
Yeah, your own, yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you were two and
Yeah.
you was taking over the world, and then
Yeah,
all of a
and now
sudden you're a gang.
you're a
And it's
gang.
like, I just want to be, I just want to be with you.
Yeah.
Like, and I love you guys, but I just need that,
Yeah.
that time. And I think that's where the community is so important, because without that one-on-one
It's tough
time,
to do it.
you just, you hardly
And
ever
that was
get
the
it.
whole point I made earlier on about still trying to be yourselves, right? You were a couple before the child came, and if you don't have that couple time anymore,
What
then what
happens?
happens?
Yeah,
Things just
100%.
start
So,
eroding,
do you
right?
feel like you have 3 wives then? Because my husband always says,
No.
no, 'cause my husband says all the time, he's like, she's so much like you. I feel like I've got 2 wives. She's always got a foot on my neck. You know, like, Daddy, your shoes, you've left your shoes down here,
I
Daddy.
feel the foot in his neck.
She's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Daddy, I'm like, I'll talk to him. Like, I'll tell him about his shoes. You're just starting problems, man.
Having a daughter, it's different level of accountability for sure. They will not let up at all.
all, yeah.
They'll look at my clothes before going out. They'll be like, what's your hair looking like
Like,
that?
okay.
Whatever it is, they'll just say it and they don't care.
They don't
There's
care.
you've got to really, and you matured, you know what I mean, a lot as well when you've had children, and kind of like you're thinking about your purpose and kind of like what you're doing next. And if you bring that back into like the business sense, it amplifies yourself as well.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
another thing, like you asked me earlier on about like how do I juggle things in terms of time. I'm probably doing more now than before when I had kids.
Yeah.
Like in terms of my output and productivity, because you make it work.
Yeah.
Do
And,
you know what I mean?
and I feel like as well, when you're a parent, the hours count. Yeah,
Yes.
not the hours, the minutes.
The minutes.
The minutes
Yeah.
count. So I could be up at 4:55, and what I've done before 6 a.m.
You're doing it.
God knows
Yeah.
why was I not doing this
Yeah.
when I was 25?
I'm sure if I mapped it out, my productivity like that,
Yeah.
35 plus compared to like sub 30 is completely different.
You
for
just
sure.
utilize
Yeah.
you utilize your time way better.
100%.
Yeah,
you
like
do,
I was talking to a friend of mine, a producer, and this is when he didn't have kids, and you know when people don't have kids, you can't say the thing like
No.
they don't. You just don't say it, but you know you're like. And then he had his son, he must be 1 now, and I've seen his whole thing just maneuver differently.
Yeah.
Like you just don't realize how you can run toward it in a more articulate way
Yeah.
because your priorities have just shifted.
Yeah.
And it can make you a better entrepreneur or a better
Yeah.
employee. Like the product, as you said, I think the key word is the productivity.
Yes.
Because you're not realizing
Yeah.
what you can get done
Yeah.
in the time that's needed.
Yeah, and I think, that's kind of like why probably, some of these companies, like tech companies, do value kind of, the paternity leaves and the maternity leaves. They offer that because they understand like having children, it doesn't mean you're going to be, do you know what I mean, a less of an employee.
It's like a blessing and a curse at the same
Yeah.
time, because sometimes people do see it and they see the value in it, and then other times, especially as a mum, like
Yeah.
because I'm a founder, it's like I kind of feel
Yeah.
but you're unreliable though, because
Yeah,
you
yeah,
are
yeah.
a mum at the same
Yeah.
time, and it's like, no, but why are we looking at that? Why are you not looking at look what I've done on
Yeah.
top of like does
Yeah.
not show you that it can be done, and it means that there's something amazing happening over there, and let's share that and multiply it instead of saying, well, now you're unreliable because your kid could have diarrhea and then you're saying you can't come to the meeting. It's like, it's crazy.
I've been in a lot of forums of female founders, like having that conversation. As a
Yeah.
whole conversation needs to be unpacked about that kind of like bias towards, and there's, some talk about, some VCs asking, female founders if they have children and that kind of stuff, which
Yeah.
is crazy. That kind of stigma, like that definitely needs to be removed and go away. But then it comes to about, the founding team as well. Like for me, a lot of the female founders that I know about, they're great at, founding teams.
Yes.
And kind of like delegating tasks, and
Managing
responsibilities
everybody.
and that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
Much better than kind of like the male founders.
Because it's like the house, is you're overseeing all of the moving
Exactly,
parts
and that
from
level
one
of
eye.
organisation is different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because remember, one eye's here and then the other eye looking at the kids.
The chief, jugglers for sure, 100%. Yeah, that's a superpower. That needs to be spoken about.
And I think parents have that in general, like
Yeah.
parents. And I feel like there's this invisible load conversation that everybody's having online at the moment. But dad has his own version of the invisible load, which I think sometimes is undervalued and underplayed, because being the man of the house comes with a silent responsibility of, I need to lead, I need to provide,
Yeah.
I want to be chief income, I want to do all the things that perhaps, wasn't done before, or I just want to amplify and do it better. And sometimes that's not necessarily a conversation men want to have with their woman, because it might be like, I don't want to scare her into thinking I ain't got this because I have got this. But, so as much as there's that invisible load for women, I do feel like that men have their own version that generally is just it's not really spoken about.
Yeah, no, totally, yeah. And I think, there's a lot more kind of like men and dad groups that kind of like exist now, and a lot of this conversation just would never have been had like years gone by. You just do it, right? And you got to carry on. But yeah, I think like that, that fear of kind of like that risk of imploding is very real, like for sure, and like mental breakdown and kind of, all the sorts of negative things or bad things, I should say, that kind of happen as a result of not having that outlet to speak about that and let it out, because you're seen as being kind of like weak. Or
it's that
or
old
not
school man. Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, that invisible load, like I feel that. But then again, counter to that, I kind of like enjoy that, that level of responsibility and drive, and kind of like being able to produce a level of output as well,
Yeah, and I think like if it works for you and you can use it positively, then it's amazing. It's
but there's drains like throughout the year. When I think about, especially being in our climate here in the UK, it gets tough.
The toughest climate.
End of November, early December last year, I was just like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, this is too much, do you know what I mean? So you need that, again, that outlet. And the outlet, the network helps, like the tribe, like as we've spoken about. But yeah, sometimes, it might just be booking a holiday or whatever it is. But yeah, you're kind of, your energy levels, you can't be up here all the time. There's no way.
And do you know what? It's like, I'm glad that you even said that about like you can't be up here all the time. And I feel like as a parent, that's something that you'll probably deal with daily with your children without even realizing it, because you're always saying it's like, it's not going to be good all the time, babes. Like when the kids have a good day, they have a bad day, and it's like, but this is life. And you have to put your armor on and know that some days great, some days not so great. And if it was great all the time, the day that it was bad, you would not know how to cope with it. So it's okay. And I think I find that probably like the toughest thing sometimes, because then I'm like, I don't know if I go too hard, if that makes sense. It's like you're falling down, get up, you're all right. Do you know what I mean? But mum, I want a hug. Okay, all right, come. It's the balance of that is really, really tough. How do you find that being like a father of two girls? Obviously, you have a son as well.
Kind of. It's tough, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Your energy levels, like, you just got to make sure, like, speaking back to that young parent that you're talking about, making sure you've got an outlet to do the good things that give you energy again. Yes. I get a lot of energy from the kids, like I'm sure you do, but then you still need that other outlet, whether it might just be going to the football match.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, no one, like, without them doing that once a week or once a month thing, whatever it is, whatever it might be. You might skydive, I don't know, whatever crazy thing that person gets their endorphins from. For me, it's kind of like gym, like, getting that kind of like level of kind of like endorphins again, and kind of like, that energy. It might be going to the football. It might just watching the Arsenal match. You know what I mean? I think that's my outlet for sure. Definitely,
It's definitely
and making sure
husband.
I carve those out. Like you mentioned, you go to your gym class and that kind of stuff. Whereas if you're just constantly in the trenches, what's going to happen? You're just digging deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper.
Burning out.
Either parent needs the outlet for sure, and you need to, whether it's the male enabling, do you know what I mean? The woman to kind of like have her outlet and go off. And then that's like my good, like my time with the kids, you know what I mean? And that's like, I love like, some like Saturday it was just me, the girls and Ramari, like the boy, and like together, and then Jade was on her own, do you know what I mean? So if you can carve that space, young parent, for each other, it's so beneficial. Even if it's 2 hours a week, man, or 1 hour, it's amazing.
No, I totally agree. And I think that it's underrated. Like people don't really understand how powerful, like just like getting up and going to the shop on your own.
On your own,
Like
on your own.
On your own.
On your own. Just chill.
I'm in the car.
Yeah.
I'm playing some gigs.
Yeah.
It's a lot of swear words, man. It's very loud.
Yeah. I'm Benny the Butcher, like some hard hip hop, where just playing it out, not circular. Just enjoying,
But listen, Richard, I could talk to you
I love our chats.
all day, honestly. Like, I am so like in awe of everything that you're doing, the way that you're raising your children,
Likewise.
the support that you offer to your partner, like the stories of just listening to how your parents raised you and just the differences, but the amazing differences. And, it just really warms me to know that there are amazing young Black professionals that are raising children who are gonna grow up and do amazing things, and they just have you in their corner. So anything that you need, anything that your daughters ever need, honestly, I've got you. But yeah, it's been amazing talking to you today.
No, I appreciate you. It's been great being on.
Yeah, listen, well, I'm going to get you back on another time, honestly, because it's gone too far. But yeah, this is the Parent Playbook, and I was just joined by the amazing Richard, who just dropped so many gems. I'm going to put all his information in the, we do do what we do. And you can follow. And I hope you enjoyed it and took away some food for thought.
The Parent Playbook.